not about politics. It's about football.
This is a simple game.
We're going to run the ball, and we're going to pass the ball. We're just going to play football, really.
How good of a football player are you?
I just get in and try to spin it. That's all.
I just love the game.
It really is the best time of the year.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to HGS Football. Trevor Sikkema Mike Renner here with you guys on a beautiful Friday morning, post-Thursday Night Football edition of the show. We got a jam-packed show for you guys today. We're talking about best catches we've ever seen in honor of an incredible catch that we saw last night. We're also sending out the bat signal for players that are missing in action that we need to we need them to show up. We need them to be heroes. We need these players to get involved. We're also talking fantasy start-sit with Ian Hartitz, and we're giving bold predictions, all that stuff. It's a jam-packed show. Mike, how we living today? How we feeling? The vibes seem to be high. I'm pumped for this show, man.
I'm doing great. Today is the first day of fall. I mean, no, technically it was yesterday the first day of fall, but it is the first day where it's like, it's fall. It is a high in the 60s.
Okay, so
that's when you know, when I have to wear a hoodie, like now, a light hoodie, shorts, perfect weather.
I'm from Florida, so moving from down south to Cincinnati, let me just say I did not have the jacket collection that I needed to moving up here to the great Midwest.
Yeah, it's a different animal up here. I hate it, truthfully. I've grown over my 32 years of living in the Midwest to hate the winter. And I'm not looking forward to that, but fall's great. Fall can't be.
Fall is great. It is the best time of the year. We saw a fantastic football game last night. Just a real slugfest. Elite offenses executing at every. Okay, maybe not, but it was entertaining. Yeah. You know, we both. You said Browns minus 4.5, right?
I said Browns minus 4.5.
Okay, so I said Browns minus 4.5. I think I had the over. You had the under.
Yes.
So I got you there.
Yes.
Did David Bell get a catch?
David Bell did. One catch, 6 yards,
really?
over 5.5 receiving yards, just like I called.
Wow. One reception, 6 yards. Look at you. That's how money is made.
Felt great.
That's awesome. All right, well, what's up to everybody in the chat? What's up to the guys in the production suite? We got Sav, Stone, Quinn, and Eli in there. Fellas, how we doing? Quinn, do you have a question of the day here for us to get the show kicked off?
Yeah. Was the George Pickens catch the best catch you've ever seen behind the David Bell catch last night?
Yeah, right.
Or was that the best catch you've ever seen?
Of course. Probably not.
Truthfully, I don't even remember. I think I missed it during live.
It was early in the game. I think it was in the
yards.
first half.
At some point in the second half, I was just like, yes.
I was watching the game with Mike last night, and he's just bitching the whole time. He's like, David Bell, get off the corner. Like, get open. He's just screaming at David Bell to make one catch. Dude, all you had to do was have some faith. Yeah, you just had to have some faith. So that's the question of the day. Question of the day to you guys. The George Pickens catch, which was phenomenal. We're going to show it in a second. Is it the best catch you've ever seen? Is it the best catch you've ever seen on Thursday Night Football? That might be a better question. And if it's not, y'all tell us. What is the best catch you've ever seen? Odell is an obvious one that people are going to think of. They're going to fire it off in the chat. The DJ Graham. The linebacker from Oklahoma, who had like that diving one-handed interception. Yeah. That one was sick.
That's up there. So, I mean, let's just say it. Pickens was an all-timer. It was an all-timer. Calling it the best ever, I think, is a stretch. I'll highlight a few when we get to there that I would go.
There was a lot of people on Twitter that were calling it best ever.
I mean, it was sick.
It's an all-timer, for sure.
It was a sick catch.
Top 10, yes. Like, I'll put it up there. At least, like, in-game catches. But the ones that come to mind, obviously Odell comes to mind. Yep. Calvin Johnson at Georgia Tech comes to mind, reaching behind him, going across the middle of the field, if you remember that one. Chris Carter at Ohio State comes to mind as well, if you remember that one. I was live for it, so I don't remember that one, but I've seen the highlights of it. Going to the sideline, one-hands it. I think he left-hand one-handed it to save him from going to the sideline, and then toe-tapped as well because he was going to be out of bounds if he just comes down normally. That one's up there. As far as one-handers go. If we start bringing in two-handers, I think two-handers are a little less impressive just as principle, but there are some up there.
How do you feel about the David Tyree catch, the helmet catch?
That's, to me, it was more luck. Like
I think so too.
A lot of times, like when it's a one-hander, anytime you're like bobbling it with that one hand, and you need your body to trap it, immediately takes away a lot of the impressiveness to it. It's a one-hander is a one-hander when it sticks in that one hand, like Pickens.
I think a lot of people, when they talk about that Giants catch with David Tyree, it's like the meaning of it. You know, like they were able to obviously win the Super Bowl, so like that goes into it. But the catch itself, I've never been super impressed with the catch itself. I'm sorry. Yeah. I might be a hater. I don't know. Chat's already got Julio in the Super Bowl, the one on the sideline, which is absolutely sick. The Julian Edelman one.
Yeah, Julian Edelman was nasty.
The Julian Edelman one was pretty nasty. A lot of people are saying that OBJ is still the best. Tyler said we're obviously desensitized to it because we've seen it so many times. But
yeah, I would give Odell the nod over Pickens.
Yeah,
Pickens was awesome, but Odell's was still. I mean, we just get a little. We've seen it so much that you kind of get again desensitized to where. It's still with them. There's a reason why it's swept.
One more before we move on, and I want to hear from you guys throughout the whole show. What's the best catch that you've ever seen? If it's a George Pickens one, it's a George Pickens one. But yeah, picks absolutely count. Bonkers asked if interceptions count. Yeah, absolutely. The DJ Graham interception was nasty. Do you remember Tyrone Prothrow's catch at Alabama?
Yeah,
2003.
That was the one that I was gonna say.
Yes.
That was my pick.
That one is
where he caught it on his back. He pinned it on the guy's back,
and he scored a touchdown. He just held on and he just kept going, and then he just flipped over the defender. That's the one that I always think of when I go, okay, is there a catch better than Odell Beckham Jr.'s? I always go to that one because it involved so many things with it. So I'm shouting out Tyrone Prothrow. Y'all let me know what the best catch is. While you're watching this show, go on a different device, Google the top 10 catches to remind yourself and fire them off in the chat throughout the show. Let's start it off refreshing the timeline with that catch, though. In case anybody missed it, which would have been very difficult to do. This was George Pickens' catch last night, and my goodness, it was indeed sick. Look at this angle. This is a beautiful angle of it. Works him off the line, gets some separation, play a little high five game there. Low push off, but we like it. Brother. Full extension with the right hand.
Yeah. The thing that's insane to me about Pickens and his ball skills and the fact that he doesn't drop footballs is he has 8 7/8 inch hands. He has smaller hands than Joe Burrow. We talk about Joe Burrow, not being able to grip a football. Is just a little bit bigger than Kenny Pickett there. Hand size matters a ton or helps a ton in corralling a football. Small-handed wide receivers, there's not a ton of guys who are high-volume, small-handed wide receivers. He definitely qualifies. And to haul it in with that, I have 9-inch hands. I have bigger hands than George Pickens, and that is not a catch I'm making. I'll just say that for you right now in any lifetime.
That was crazy. I mean, the full extent, there's some impressive catches, you get a little bit of help, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's a one-handed catch, but really you're just kind of...
You're pulling it into your body.
Yeah, you're bringing it in, and then you're bringing it into the body, right? And you're getting a little bit of help that way. That was full extension. The ball hit his hand, boom, and it felt like it did not move. Yeah. And he was able to complete the catch, too, which is just nuts.
Yeah, that one.
He got the dog in him.
And that's he did that. Did you ever seen the practice video of him at Georgia? We should have had that one queued up. He had one similar on the sideline practice video where he's up in the air one-handed. I don't know how a man does it.
Oh, I just thought of one. The CeeDee Lamb catch at Oklahoma at the sideline. I don't think it counted. I think he was out of bounds.
Yeah,
but it was the one where he was like that. It was just full extension going the opposite way, and he just catches it with his fingertips.
That was early on his last year.
Yes. That's when I knew that we had a dog in CeeDee Lamb, that he was going to be good. So that was the Pickens catch. That angle is a beautiful angle. I think it's from NFL. But still in that game. Browns take the W, obviously. After the game, the fine folks at Amazon who were doing the post game, most notably Ryan Fitzpatrick, let's say he was a little distracted while they were doing the post game, and maybe deservingly so. If we could show this next clip here from Ryan Fitzpatrick.
There's going to be some points on the board. What's your first early look at this game?
Well, they don't waste any time cutting the grass here.
True dad.
After it right
True
now.
dad.
It is a natural surface. This is wonderful. But the two weapons, Waddle and Hill, amazing playmakers. Thank you, sir.
Yes, appreciate it.
Great job. He's hitting a very specific spot. I feel like that would be a win job. Cutting lawns to make your early job to make some cash.
100%. Hey,
100%.
But he's going to have to draw it up.
He is, but you look at Josh Allen. Is there a quarterback more built for when you're going to bring zeros to be able to escape some of that?
An umbrella over that defense. They're not going to just let him take deep shots. This guy.
He knew he was on TV.
Thank you, man.
You're doing it, brother.
Really appreciate it.
Doing great. Hell of a job.
Yeah. You just come back and forth right here.
Right here. That's fine.
How often you had to mow the 25-yard line? That's what I want to know.
He did keep going back to the same yard line.
He's a true dad.
Yeah.
He's all in on the lawn maintenance.
He's not even getting paid. He just does that just for fun.
He's just a true dad.
Yeah.
So that takes me back to when I covered the Buccaneers as a beat reporter, and I knew a lot of friends who were in local TV. Mm-hmm. And after the game, they have to go on the field while often the sprinklers are going and the mowers are going or whatever, and they have to do their stand-up. They have to do their, like, live from Raymond James Stadium, whatever, like give the recap. And a lot of times the mowers would just be coming right behind him, and they'd have to time. It's like, okay, go. So I guess unfortunately Ryan Fitzpatrick didn't have that.
My parents had a riding lawnmower as a kid, and I used to be growing up, I wanted to drive it so bad. I was like, oh dude, it's so much fun wanting to ride it. And then first time I ever do it, I got old enough, they let me. And then I realized it was actually not fun at all.
Not me.
And then I still was stuck doing it because I begged my parents to let me do it.
Not me. I'm the son of a landscaper. It's in my blood. Sitting on that John Deere. That's straight in the blood. All right, the next refresher time we have here. This absolutely killed me. This is what Twitter is all about. It is fantasy football meeting comedy in the best way. We have seen Arthur Smith fail to give Kyle Pitts some targets so far this season, and now we have fantasy owners going to extreme measures to make sure that stops and that is remedied. Grandma stays in the cage until Kyle Pitts gets a touchdown.
This is tremendous. Whoever found that picture, found that copy.
That's amazing.
This one's going to go off. That one, Grandma stays in the cage until whatever, is going to be hot for years to come. Just because it's great. I mean, the picture of the grandma, it looks like an aviary, right? That's probably a bird thing because it moves.
Has to be.
But yeah, Grandma stays in the cage. Kyle Pitts, hopefully he's gonna free her this week.
Somebody should show that to Arthur Smith and be like, hey, if winning games wasn't enough for you, you've now got freedom on the line.
Lives on the line.
You've now got lives on the line to feed Kyle Pitts. Feed your best player of the football. What a concept. Obviously, we have to make sure that we let everybody know that I don't think the grandma's actually in the cage.
There were wheels on that cage. That cage moved. So even if she is stuck in there, she can at least move it.
It's not bolted down. I was going to say she's not in the cage, but I actually don't know that. I don't know that. Maybe that is the person that took the picture.
We think he's joking. And it's hilarious, but the guy's like, no, she's stuck. Kyle Pitts better get the TD.
Fantasy football. That's actually a segment for Ian when we have him later on the show. Be like, what are you putting your grandma in a cage for, this week? What do you want to see this week? So maybe that'll be something that we ask him after that. Okay, so we have a fun segment that we're getting to on this show. It's a way for us to highlight, we're 2 weeks into the season. And there was a lot of high expectations for a ton of different players, right? That's what training camp is about. That's what preseason is about. But not all of them hit. As they say, there's only one football to go around. So not all of these guys can get as involved as maybe we want them to. But we're going to come up with, we've got a segment here called Throw Out the Bat Signal. We are throwing out the bat signal here because somebody's either missing in action or we need them to step up. The team needs them in some way or another, and we're firing on the bat signal to let them know that we need their help.
We're to let Grandma out the cage.
Well,
we need Grandma to get out. We need their help getting Grandma out the cage.
My first Batman is Grandma in the cage. We need you. No, so, all right, my first one, I'll kick it off here. It's George Pickens. I know he had the big touchdown, or not the touchdown, the big one-handed catch last night. I love this. The graphics team did an incredible job here. My bat signal is George Pickens because even with the 3 catches last night, even with one of them being absolutely phenomenal, when you look at this Pittsburgh Steelers passing offense in particular, it's anemic, man. And they need this guy. We got a flash of it last night. They got him 7 targets, which I was proud about. But even after this game, 12 targets on the season. It's 4th on the team. 5th in catches. 5th on the team. Only a 12.9 threat percentage, which talks about usage when you are on the field, how often they are targeting you. And yet his average depth of target and his yards per route run, both of those are first. The Steelers need big plays. The offense is not explosive enough right now, and the way that they can remedy that is through this dude. I'm throwing out the bat signal for George Pickens. We need him. We need him out there. He needs to be a hero. He's been missing in action a little bit too much, especially for what we saw in the preseason. Now, he's had a problem with drops. He's got to get the drops together. That'll hopefully lead to more targets. But ultimately, Steelers need this guy. If they want to make the playoffs, be above 500, just get over whatever that 7.5 win total was, they're going to need this guy to step up.
Yeah, the tough thing with that offense is that when they go vertical, when they're downfield routes and they don't, it's not a super deep passing offense as we've seen the last year and a half. It's go balls. George Pickens is not a go ball separator. He's not going to be 2-3 yards in front of a cornerback. You're going to have to trust. I mean, like we saw in that one-handed catch, you're going to have to trust him. You're going to have to put it up there and trust that he's then going to come down with it. So that to me is the bigger thing. Is like that's tough to build rapport with when you don't have a quarterback who's confident either. Mitch Trubisky's saying he has to earn his right to audible, which is like that's not what you want your quarterback saying. So this is not.
Not really.
I don't see this getting remedied super quickly. In time, I think they'll build that rapport, but that's what Pickens relies off of. And as it stands right now, I just don't think we're going to see that anytime soon.
Who are you lighting the bat signal for? Who's your first one here?
My first one, I'm going another wide receiver.
Okay.
And it is Lions wide receiver DJ Chark. They pay this guy a lot of money in the offseason. 1 year, kind of prove-it deal, but through 2 weeks, he has 52 catches. 52 yards. That would have been 52 catches would have been great.
52 catches would have been great.
4 catches, 12 targets, 0.78 yards per route. Didn't have a single catch in week 2. Now, if you're a Lions fan, you're saying, hey, one of our big money wide receivers is doing nothing. We're still putting up yards on offense. We're still scoring points. That's a room for improvement. That's like almost a good thing. But still, we needed him to show up because, again, got paid over $10 million this offseason by the Lions, thinking he would be that deep threat.
Yeah.
Been anything but.
We got some good answers already for who the chat's throwing out the bat signal for. Braven says Odafe Owe, who I had a lot of high hopes for this season with Odafe Owe. And I still think that he has plenty of time to be an impact edge rusher, but that might be a good call out there. We got Derrick Henry. Ooh, Scott says Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry's a good one.
Steven says Seattle fan pleading for DK Metcalf.
I don't know if we're going to see it.
I don't know if we're going to see it either.
That offense is...
But it would be great.
Yeah.
I mean, he did have that filthy deep ball catch, which ended up coming back that doesn't count on the stats. I don't remember. Was it holding on that one? No, it was illegal man downfield. Abraham Lucas was like 1 yard down the field and it didn't have anything to do with the play whatsoever, and they ended up calling it back. So maybe I still got some faith that the DK Metcalf can get it done. Okay, my next guy here, going to the Buffalo Bills. I'm gonna go with James Cook, the rookie running back there. I'd love to see more out of James Cook. I feel like he brings such an explosive presence to that running back room. Now, very first touch, very first game, you fumble. Not great. He understandably did not play after that game. They weren't going to continue to give him the ball. But this past game, he played well. He had a nice little 33-yard run, which showed the explosiveness, showed the balance after contact, all of that, exactly what you would want to see from him. But what I'd love to see from James Cook is honestly his work in the receiving game out of that running back backfield. Because they got Singleton, they've got Moss, they're going to give it to those guys, Singletary, sorry, and they're going to give it to those guys on the ground. When you're going to the pass game, get James Cook a little involved. Come on, it's what he was best at when he was at Georgia. He's only got 1 target, 0 catches so far this year. That's not at UGA in 2021. That's the mess up there. But at Georgia is what we see right there. 233 yards after the catch. This is in his final year there. 8.6 yards per reception. 79 yards after contact. This guy can get you what you want in the receiving game. So let's sprinkle him in a little bit. Let's make this Bills offense a little bit better even. I want to see James Cook get that kind of usage. I want to see them lean on him in the pass game. So I'll go James Cook here.
Yeah, he's run only 3 routes all season long. They really haven't trusted him to even be that guy.
Trust is, I think, the right word.
So very curious to see. I heard you say Singleton there. You may have got a little Nick Singleton on the mind.
You told me to watch Nick Singleton, and I watched Nick Singleton last night, and you're right. He's a dude. He's raw.
He's a dude. All right, my next one, Derek Carr. Las Vegas Raiders quarterback.
Oh, Derek Carr.
47.8 PFF grade. The lowest grade quarterbacks in the NFL currently. If Justin Fields wasn't farting over in Chicago every time he dropped back to pass, he would be the lowest. This has been bad. Very bad. And he had, his guys in there. He brought Devontae Adams in. He wanted his college teammate back there. 12 yards last week. Not even throwing his way. Going to Mac Hollins more than his number 1 receiver. And oh, by the way, they're 0-2. That's ugly. That's not... I get that the offensive line's bad. You don't have to reiterate that. We know. We've been saying it for a while. But you just got a huge contract. You got a number 1 wide receiver. You have the best receiving core in football. You should be able to overcome that. If you can't overcome that offensive line, and okay, 2 starts, new offense, sure. A little adjustment period. But if you move to 0-3, adjustment period's over because the season's over.
Oh, yeah.
You're not making
that's
plays.
Tough.
So Derek Carr's better show up because the season's over if he doesn't.
People are saying Josh Jacobs. Ooh, we got to vote for Rondale Moore. I've been waiting for Rondale Moore, man.
Well, he was hurt.
I know, but he's he's in the perfect offense, man.
Well, now he is. I mean, with D-Hop out, he would have been Dortch. I mean, he would have gotten like the Dortch workload, which has been insane over 2 weeks. He would have been that guy in that offense. But yeah, unfortunate timing for his injury.
Christian Watson.
Yeah, dude's got. I mean, yeah, big time.
That's a big one.
I think he's hurt again. He's hurt too.
People are saying CeeDee Lamb. I think CeeDee Lamb's been fine.
That's fine.
But I still think would want more of them. I think that some people were predicting, like a 2,000-yard receiving season for CeeDee Lamb, and I don't think that was ever going to happen.
100 yards through 2 games is nothing to sneeze at.
He's okay. I mean, he's fine. I mean, I'd push back on the bat signal for CeeDee Lamb. Mm-hmm. At this point, maybe we need to break it out for him in a couple of weeks. Matt Ryan is an answer that the chat's given.
Yes.
I think that's a good one. Obviously, Matt Ryan has not been the quarterback the Colts have needed him to be. He's got to be a lot more accurate. Mac Jones, Ravens O-line. Felipe said ETN, and then Crib said that ETN's been good. I think ETN has been good. He's just had the drops, and they need a little bit more from him. My next one that I want to bring to the table is tight end TJ Hawkinson. I'm lighting the bat signal for Hawkinson here because I think that he's got to be more involved in the receiving game, man. They're going to need him. We are guilty of this, and it's fun to celebrate Amon-Ra St. Brown and how much attention that he's getting, all the targets, how much he's rewarding him. You still run your offense through Amon-Ra St. Brown, but you need somebody else. And when you look at TJ Hawkinson right now, 7 receptions this year, 64 yards. Okay, not terrible. It's a tight end. But the average depth of target, 6.5 yards per route run, 1.03. Those are all career lows. You look at the last couple of years of him when he was on the Lions, and they were able to stretch the intermediate part of the field a little bit more with him. They're just not doing that to this extent. He's just not running those kinds of routes, and I think they really need him to. Another thing that kind of sucks for him, and a reason why he's on this list, is he's got more drops this season, 2 games in, than he had all of last year. He just had 1. So normally a very reliable player, just not being reliable for him, both in usage and when it comes to actually catching the football when they target him. So I know that it's fun to highlight Amon-Ra St. Brown, and he has definitely been delivering. But they're going to need somebody else on there. You highlighted Chark. I'm highlighting Hawkinson. Somebody's got to step up here for the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, 2 Lions on the list, and they're second in the NFL in scoring, which is interesting. Good sign. Good sign for Lions fans.
Well, I think that we're just saying
yeah.
you need to diversify a little bit.
Yeah.
Because there are going to be games when Amon-Ra St. Brown can't save you. Mm-hmm. Somebody else has got to be relied upon. Somebody else has got to call up. So we've got 2 bat signals for Lions players. Do you have any other one? Is that it? That's what I got.
Let me give a shout out one defender. Adrian Amos.
Okay.
Green Bay Packers safety.
Oh, is he even bad? I haven't
30.6 overall grade. The lowest grade defender in the NFL right now.
Yikes.
He's been, and it's like the things that he was good at over his career too. Missed tackles. 2 misses on 9 attempts, and he has a couple other plays in there that aren't even could have been tackle attempts. He's just not playing the same aggressive play style that we've seen from him. So he's been at the heart of some of those busted coverages, which is like, that's your vet. So it's like your steady safety. That's the guy that shouldn't be busting any coverage. So just a weird start for him. I do wonder if there's something going on, because that's wholly uncharacteristic from the Adrian Amos we've seen in his career.
That's not ideal. Lowest graded defender in the NFL? Not really ideal.
Yeah.
No matter how you spin it.
Even if you don't trust PFF grades, I don't think we're that wrong.
That's pretty bad there. Joe's got Adam Thielen. Man, I just wonder if Adam Thielen's best days are behind him.
No, I know Adam Thielen's best days are behind him. That one I know.
Okay.
Now, is he completely his best days are behind him? That one's debatable.
Yeah.
Could be.
Abel says Kwity Paye. Kwity Paye feels like almost the best defender on the Colts defensive line, which I think is saying something with the Colts defensive line.
Yeah, maybe just say the Colts.
They're not coming together at all. Birmingham says Kenny Golladay. I'm not so sure a bat signal is even going to be able to save that current situation with Kenny Golladay. Yeah. It's not looking good for the New York Giants there with that relationship. Luke says Russell Gage been a non-factor for the Bucs. I agree. I thought we were going to get a lot more Russell Gage, and he got a decent amount of targets last week, but I thought the overall output was going to be better.
Agreed.
Maybe it's this week. Maybe it's this week for Russell Gage. They gave him a decent amount of money, so I think that's
Gage season.
Chris says send him out for the entire Denver Broncos. They just look bad. That's very true. That's true as well. Let's move on. Let's talk about some of the games in the lines for Week 3. I think we got a full screen that will be out that will show you guys some major matchups that we have going on upcoming this week. Saints-Panthers is one I'm looking at. That's a very interesting one. Chiefs-Colts, obviously, we just kind of talked about the Colts a little bit there. Are they going to be able to show up against the Chiefs? I don't even need the Colts to win this game because I don't think they're going to. Mm-hmm. Can you look competitive? Can you do what you need to do? Because as of right now, the offensive line hasn't. The wide receivers haven't. Matt Ryan hasn't. The defense is not getting turnovers like they were last year. Like, all of these things for the Colts that you were banking on, if they were going to win, these things were going to happen. None of them are happening. So I think that that's a big one that I've got my eye on. What about you? What games kind of stand out for you this week?
Packers Bucks, man. Those are
Woo!
2 of the 3, best teams in the NFC, I'd probably say.
I feel like you don't have any confidence in Packers this week.
I don't with the depleted receivers.
Because, I want to go at you.
Yeah.
This is our teams. You're a Packers fan, I'm a Bucks fan. I want to go at you about this, but you're kind of like, yeah, Packers are good.
Too banged up.
That's not what I want.
Elkton didn't look great first week back. I think David Bakhtiari's still out of tackle.
Yeah.
And then you have Sammy Watkins may not play. Christian Watson may not play. You just don't have the horses. It's unfortunate that that's the case. But obviously, the Bucks will be without Mike Evans, so we shall see how that plays out. But that one I'm looking at, and then Bills-Dolphins, man. Bills-Dolphins.
Huge.
It's like Dolphins, cool story. 2 weeks. It's 2 games.
Cool story, bro.
This is, the ultimate litmus test. Can you hang with the big dogs in the AFC? This is the biggest dog gets. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to see the answer to that.
I'm very, very curious to see how the Lions played against the Vikings, because getting 6 points, this Lions team?
That's a big
What are we
line.
doing? I'd love for the Lions to show up in a big way and keep this one at least within 6 points. I think that'd be great to see. Shoot, I think that the Lions can win that game outright. The other one that I'm really looking forward to is Eagles-Commanders, because this is a divisional game. It's in Washington. Eagles are favored by a lot. In theory, you would think the Eagles would be able to put up a lot of points against Washington. They haven't been great at defending the run so far this season. Obviously, the Eagles love to run their offense through the ground game. This is a game that I feel like, with the Eagles being a better team, you look at this and you say, we should win this game. Can they? Can they take down the opponents that are inferior to them? Because I think that Washington is. So I'm watching that one for sure, because the Eagles are a team that's going to threaten the 1 seed this year in the NFC.
Yeah, and from the Commanders' perspective, you trade a lot away for Carson Wentz. You invested a good chunk of change in him. If you can't cover that 6.5 line at home against the Eagles, pack it in this season. You're not competing in the NFC. You're not competing for a playoff spot in the NFC.
We have a new segment to highlight some of the weird games on the schedule called So This Game Is Happening. And it's maybe not the most premier matchup. Maybe we're not talking about playoff spots. Maybe we're not talking about 1 seeds and buys, but instead we're just talking about, This one's on the schedule, so somebody's got to win it. I guess they could tie, but some result has to happen from this game. What is your
60 minutes will be played?
What is your 60 minutes will be played game?
Texans at Bears. We power ranked.
Yeah, that's a good one.
On the Talking Ball podcast yesterday, power ranked the team's chances for the number 1 overall pick. Texans, I had it 1. Bears, I had it 2. In terms of getting the number 1 overall pick.
I almost said for the superlative of this game, loser gets the number 1 overall pick.
And it is. Isn't it? Like, it feels that way, at the very least. Now, I know the Bears have a win, and the Texans have a tie, but just objectively looking at these rosters, that's how I feel about them going forward. So, number 1 overall pick bowl. Super Bowl odds right now, plus 20,000 for the Bears, plus 40,000 for the Texans.
Which one do you have more faith in?
Do I have to pick?
Yeah.
Probably the Bears.
The
Bears have more hope.
Texans. I think it's the Texans.
Really?
Yeah.
In terms of winning games, I just think the Bears have more to be hopeful for.
But what?
Justin Fields.
Yeah, but
maybe.
but Fields.
Yeah, I know.
Stinks.
Oh,
right
I know.
Now.
Yeah. Oh, I know. But hope. We're comparing low end hope is what we're comparing here. Both not good. And the Bears have won a game at least. So.
It was a monsoon game.
Yeah.
Let's be honest about it. So my this game is happening is Falcons at Seahawks. Battle of the birds, if you will. And I just no idea what I'm going to see on offense between these two teams.
Yeah.
If you look at the offensive output, offensive grades for the Falcons, 64.3, which is 26th in the league out of 32 teams, of course. Offensive EPA per play, they're 24th. But the Seahawks, they're a little bit worse in that category. They're higher in offensive grade, but they're worse in the EPA per play category. We talked about DK Metcalf being somebody who fans are lighting the bat signal for. These teams stink, and I have no idea what we're going to see out of them. This might be a 13-12 final score. I don't know how we get there. All right, 1 touchdown, a field goal, and safety.
So, I kind of like the over in that game because I think the defenses stink worse than the offenses, right?
Oh, no, they don't.
Defense is bad.
I mean, they are. That's true. What's the over-under?
It's like 42.
Is it 42?
Something like that.
Total. Okay. I'm looking.
What we got?
I'm refreshing. Just kidding, I'm not. Oh, yeah, I am. Seahawks, Falcons.
42, yeah.
42. No, we're going under.
Okay.
These offenses can't do anything.
But I kind of have, right? I mean, Seahawks did week 1 a little bit against the Broncos.
Who are the other teams that you think are favored for the number 1 overall pick right now? Because, I mean, I think these 4 are in play. I really do. Do you think anybody else is stinking it up so bad where they're in this conversation with these teams?
Oh, that's a good question. I think Carolina could fall off.
Carolina stinks.
They could really just kind of pack it in. And, I don't think talent-wise they're in that realm. But when a team just gives up, they're always viable to get into that range. After that, I don't see any outside of those 5. You'd be hard-pressed to convince me someone else could get the number 1 overall pick outside those 5.
Scott said, how can you tell if Field stinks if they don't let him throw? I mean, it's a good point. He's got 28 passing attempts. The next closest guy is Ryan Tannehill with 53. They're clearly not trusting Justin Fields to throw the football. But I said this on the show, I think it was yesterday. I went back and I watched all of Fields' dropbacks, and he's not even playing confident at all when he has the ball in his hands to throw. He's not.
Yeah,
he's not.
It's... Yeah, you earn your opportunity to pass to some degree.
I think it's true.
Now, it's not always fairly distributed, but if they're that hesitant to let him pass, they are seeing something in practice that is making them that hesitant to let him pass.
That's fair. Chris and Drew are both, I think, on the Texans side of things, that the Texans would be better than the Chicago Bears. Chris said Texans can at least give a team a scare, but the Bears might have more quote-unquote talent. He kind of, I guess, is maybe in the boat that you were. Drew said, I'd say the Texans have more talent top to bottom on their roster.
Texans have more veterans.
I just think they're better coached right now.
We're really debating this one.
You're right. This was a segment that was basically like, we don't even know if how much football is really going to be played, and here we are getting in
they're worse.
the nitty-gritty of it. There will be plenty of time to talk about the number 1 overall pick and what some of those bad teams are doing in the coming weeks even, when we start to formulate what the early draft order might look like. Let's talk a little bit of fantasy football, though. We teased it. Ian Hartitz joins us on the show every single Friday to give you his sit players that he comes up with every single week, but also we are, of course, taking y'all's sit questions as well. So fire them off, get them in the chat while we chat with Ian here and bringing him into the show. Ian, I see the Ohio State sweatshirt. Big game against Wisconsin this weekend. Are you nervous at all whatsoever? Because I'm not going to lie, you absolutely shouldn't be.
Bro, every time Ohio State plays Wisconsin, like 5 minutes into the game, they already got 150-yard touchdown. Like they own them at this point. Come on, Michigan got lucky last year, but we already saw the alleged big bad team that's going to win in the trenches come to the horseshoe in week 1. Mike was there to see it firsthand, and he saw how that went. But always good talking to you guys. And I just love fantasy football in general, but mostly because we can talk about all these terrible teams like unironically and just kind of keep going on and on. You guys get through 5 minutes, and it's like, what are we doing here?
Okay, so I have to, before I ask you about your sit, we had a segment at the beginning of the show where we highlighted a tweet where somebody it was the meme where the grandma is in the giant bird cage, and they said, grandma won't come out of the bird cage unless Kyle Pitts scores a touchdown. Dude, does grandma get out of the cage this week? Come on, Ian, help us out. Save a life.
I love that meme so much. Oh, man. They're not playing in London, so that's not a good start, man. I checked. They're not even the Germany game this year, so I'm going to go with no, but I think the yards at least get up there. The one good thing with Kyle Pitts is, like, people are trying to get this, 100% route rate. Anytime he pass blocks, it's going to be, clipped and put on social media. But he really is running a route on like 91% of Mariota's dropbacks. He's too damn good to go this long without blowing up. If anything, let's just be happy that Drake London looks as good as advertised, because obviously in this Falcons passing game, not going to be the most surprising thing at the end of the year if we can't consistently have 2 guys going off.
No, it's fantastic to see Drake London playing the way that he is. We're sticking with positivity here on this show. All right, so with that being in mind, let's talk about some of the guys that are absolute starts. We'll ask you a little bit of this or that from the chat in a few minutes, but overall, I know that there's a handful of players that you're looking at this week where it's like, hey, I love the matchup. I love how this player is playing. I think they're going to really reward you this week. So who are your must-start players this week?
One guy that I think is in that jumbled RB2 mix, maybe we didn't love drafting him, but I think now you start looking at his numbers, you can get behind him more, is Raiders running back Josh Jacobs. Someone that, even going back to Bama, like he's one of these players, I put Antonio Gibson in the group as well. Like we know they can work across all 3 downs. Unfortunately, hasn't really had the chance to do so most of his career, and that's persisting. You know, Brandon Bolden took the pass down work in week 1, Amir Abdullah in week 2, but there's really not been Zamir White. Obviously, they got rid of Kenyon Drake. So Josh Jacobs now, he's in a 2 running back Josh McDaniels committee, which is better than 3 or 4, obviously, like we've seen in New England a lot over the years. And he's been playing great this year, guys. I remember actually after going back through all the games on Monday, I'm not sure there was a rusher just with the ball in his hands that impressed me more than Josh Jacobs last week. PFF's 5th highest graded rusher on the season, 3rd in missed tackles forced per carry, 8th yards after contact per carry. I think he's going to be looking at 20 combined carries and targets each and every week. When he's playing this well, God forbid the O-line maybe takes a step forward. Maybe Derek Carr starts getting that scoring upside going. I do think in this matchup, Raiders Titans could be a bit of a sneaky shootout, and I think Josh Jacobs could find his way into the end zone a few times.
What about Adam Thielen? I see him on your list here of players to start. We just talked about we had a segment called "We're lighting the bat signal for these guys because they're MIA and we need them to show up. The city needs them, if you will." And Adam Thielen wasn't on our list, but somebody in the chat shouted him out as a guy who's kind of missing in action so far earlier in the season. You got him on your start list, so tell us what you think you could see from Adam Thielen this week.
He's been out there every single route alongside Justin Jefferson. It's not like Jefferson is just completely taken over and now Thielen and Osborne are seasoned to exist. In week 1, Justin Jefferson went the hell off, and Green Bay wasn't within 20 yards of him seemingly every single play. And in week 2, Kirk Cousins had to go get Darius Slay the ball, and who can blame him for doing that? So looking at this week, just specifically Adam Thielen, he's someone that we drafted knowing that maybe it could be an issue with injuries down the road or later in the season because he is getting up there in age. At the same time, guys, since 2020, we're still talking about the man that is 4th in receiving touchdowns behind only Devontae Adams, Mike Evans, and Tyreek Hill. So this is a tough one. Amani Aruwariye, my bad. He missed last week with the back injury. I got close there, but number 1 corner. They've had Jeffrey Okudah doing a pretty good job, I think, against the number 1s. But if Amani's going to miss time again, man, that puts Okudah on Jefferson and Thielen on, someone else. So Kirk Cousins, I think, could come back here, have one of those 300-yard, 3-touchdown games that he does put up. If you actually look over the past 2 years in that statistic, only Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Brady have more of those instances. So Kirk Cousins, a lot of yards, and I think finally Adam Thielen gets one of those red zone touchdowns that we know they're fully capable of linking up with together.
Before we get to some of the start-sit questions that I see in the chat, who are some players, defenses, whatever it is that you are avoiding this week? Some matchups that you're like, nah, it's not going to yield a lot of fantasy points one way or another. What don't you like this week?
Unfortunately, we have two data samples, 2 dots for this entire season, and things can look one way in week 1, another way in week 2, and we saw that with a lot of these backfields. The Rams going from the Darrell Henderson show to Cam Akers outworking him in week 2. The Dolphins looked like it was Chase Edmonds show in week 1. Now Raheem Mostert making this a 2-back committee, and even the Jets, if it was just Michael Carter and Breece Hall, that'd be fine. Got to get Ty Johnson involved in the 2-minute drill, though, guys. So those 3 backfields, Rams, Dolphins, and Jets, I just don't even think they're close to settled. We can question kind of the overall upside of some of those as well. Dolphins facing that juggernaut Bills defense. Jets, obviously, with the Flacco experience, good more weeks than not lately, but still, I just, most close start-sit questions with those guys, I will be going the other way. And also with Terry McLaurin, man, it pains me to say this at this point, but you do look at him, he's had about 5 shadow matchups with Darius Slay since entering the league in 2019, and shout out to Slay, he has been able to win a lot of those, and just in this Washington offense, man, 18 targets for Curtis Samuel, 12 for Antonio Gibson, and then McLaurin's there at 10, tied with McKissick and Logan Thomas. So I do think it'll improve to an extent throughout the year, but this Washington passing game, clearly it's more spread out than past years because they have more weapons in past years. And as fun as it has been watching Carson Wentz go for 300 plus and 3 touchdowns every week, do think we could have a bit of a step back here against a tough Eagles defense.
That's fair.
So we'll get to the chat start sit in a second, but my buddy texted me this morning. He's in a league where he's 0-2.
Okay.
And the loser of the league has to do an all milk diet for a week, and so he's panicking after his start. And so he asked me, do I start Julio Jones this week or do I start T. Higgins?
It's T. Higgins for me easily. It's a good problem to have at least. But this is, guys, usually in fantasy, I pull up the Ricky Bobby first or last quote, but this is like the exception to that where first or second to last would probably be absolutely fine. My goodness.
An all milk diet?
All milk diet.
What does that just mean? He can only drink milk?
Only drink milk.
For a week?
That sounds dangerous.
He's going to die. What?
It's got all your nutrients in it.
I'd rather put my grandmother in a cage than
we're all adults here. We've all done the gallon challenge at one point or another. Like at some point, your body rejects it. But hey, good for him.
We did. We were all in high school once. You're right about that. Okay. In the chat, Chris is asking, or no, Tony's asking this one. Do you start Mariota or Russell Wilson? This is, I mean, he must be just looking for any kind of quarterback points he can get at this point. But I'm trying to help Tony out. What do you think?
Still got to go, Russell Wilson. I mean, again, I know the Broncos haven't been clicking the way we thought they would, but if you do watch those two games, the amount of near misses this offense has had, I mean, that stretch they had last week where Sutton draws the DPI, gets a couple fades, and then Russ proceeds to like hit a lineman in the head, and then shoots the Kendall Hinton's arm somehow and still wasn't a touchdown. Like one thing after another, just not going quite right in Denver. For me, Russ still deserves the nod there. So Mariota, when he is using his legs more and more like this, we do see him creeping up that QB2 range. But for me, it's still Russ pretty easily.
Okay. We've got this one from Scott. If Gabe Davis plays, do I go with Gabe Davis or Drake London?
Ooh, that's a pretty close one. I have Drake London just a spot or two ahead. I'm just more confident about the overall targets there. I know Gabe's going to have the higher scoring upside with Josh Allen, always featuring him. But we even saw last Monday night, man, like Jake Kummerow actually came in and played well ahead of Isaiah McKenzie and Jamison Crowder. That worries me because if Gabriel Davis isn't at 100%, it wouldn't surprise me if they have, Aaron Rodgers, ex-BFF, out there just stealing away some of those snaps and routes. And ultimately, Josh Allen clearly has no issue just feeding everything to Stephon Diggs. So at least for this week, when it's that close, give me the guy I know is healthy and is going to be out there all the time.
Nathan's saying you got to choose 2 out of 3 here. Antonio Gibson, Cordarrelle Patterson, Jeff Wilson.
Bring me on the show to put down my guy. We're going to have to sit Cordarrelle Patterson in this one, I think. Wow. With Brian Robinson out, most of the stuff I said about Josh Jacobs before also applies to Antonio Gibson, just being able to get to that 20 touch mark more weeks than not with good game script. With CPAT, like Damian Williams is on IR, and they have things called Avery Williams and Caleb Huntley also getting involved, while Tyler Algier is taking, just as much early down work as CPAT. So Jeff Wilson's someone that I really think should be in the overwhelming majority of starting lineups this week. When we got him off waivers after week 1, we still had Trey Lance there taking a lot of the dual threat, just rush attempts away. We still had Tyrion Davis-Price coming up and making that more of a committee. Now both those guys are out of the picture. So as much as everyone's trying to say that they've been in love with Mason, this undrafted, or maybe not undrafted, but the third string rookie running back for the 49ers, it does seem like Jeff Wilson is being set up to handle a feature workload. And as shitty as losing Trey Lance is, just in fantasy football, we see these dual threat quarterbacks. There's a reason why running backs in Baltimore and Buffalo mostly over the years haven't been fantastic fantasy assets. It's because the quarterbacks, they scramble instead of checking down, and once they get near the goal line, they're just as likely sometimes to score a touchdown. So Jeff Wilson, really the whole offense going from Trey Lance to Jimmy G. I know their best case, Super Bowl winning upside isn't on the table, and for real life fans, you can be mad about that. But just in terms of the fantasy upside of all these skill position guys, it's a win.
Got 2 more questions for you. One is Michael Thomas or Keenan Allen here.
I'm going to go with Michael Thomas while we're still not completely sure of Keenan Allen's health. Could we, I tweeted this morning accidentally. I try to schedule tweets on Sunday night, so I'm not just sending out too much bullshit in one day, and I just sometimes have stuff go out on Friday at 5 a.m. when I messed it up. But if you look at Michael Thomas, man, his 10 or 11 games without Drew Brees over his career, it's one knockout performance after another. Even the year when he set the reception record, he had Teddy Bridgewater on the field for a good chunk of those games. He was going for over 100 yards with a tight end throwing him the football. So it is wild to say that, this version of Jameis is kind of showing us a newfound version of Michael Thomas. But at least in terms of him, I think avoiding some of the slant boy slander, we are starting to see that because Jameis' experience has been full effect so far. 2nd in average target depth, top 5 in big time throw rate, bottom 5 in turnover worthy play rate. Are you guys not entertained? I just love watching Jameis so much.
Last one. What do I do with Breece Hall? Stat Life asked this one. What do I do with Breece Hall? Where's the confidence level with Breece Hall right now and going forward? What do you think about Jets rookie running back?
Again, after week 1, when it was just Carter and Breece Hall, that's fine. It's 2022. We only have so many 3-down workhorses left. We can live with 2 running back committees. But bring in Ty Johnson in. It's not that Ty Johnson is going to ever be a factor over Breece Hall or Michael Carter. But when you add that third player in, it's the same reason why, last year with the Patriots, we had Harris and Stevenson. We could never bump either guy up too high because we have Brandon Bolden, for whatever reason, taking the pass down work. So I just think Breece Hall's ceiling is capped. When we get Zach Wilson, it's hardly a guarantee guaranteed they're going to be, scoring points more often than they are now. Don't cut him. There's still, still way too talented of a prospect. He's got the draft capital. Maybe he is only one injury away from Michael Carter from being this featured player. So that's the frustrating part. Guys like Breece Hall and Cam Akers, and even Travis Etienne, you drafted them in like the 4th or 5th round, expecting them to be your RB2, and they're not, and that sucks. But don't like rage drop them or anything like that, because they still are running backs one injury away from having the sort of role that you drafted them for in the first place.
Ian, you're the best, man. Appreciate you joining us each and every Friday. Keep firing off those 5 a.m. scheduled tweets, my friend.
Appreciate you guys. Go Bucks.
He said go Bucks?
Go Bucks.
I think he meant the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, well,
I think
I'm
he was.
surrounded by the wrong Bucks
I
here.
think he was choosing his favorite co-host on the show.
Well, hey, I don't even want to root for the Bucks. Go for it.
Okay.
I don't want to be part of the club.
We got bold predictions before we get you guys out of here. I feel like we've had a decent hit rate on bold predictions the first couple of weeks of the season.
Yeah,
so
not
let's
worse.
see. We're the Oracles right now. I don't even know if that's the case. But what's your bold prediction this week? Where are you going?
I'm going to say that Derek Stingley Jr.,
Okay.
number 3 overall pick from this year's draft, gets his first career interception. He's been around the ball a lot.
Let's go.
Already.
Mike.
3 pass breakups. Was shadowing Cortland Sutton last week. Already getting that kind of workload. If he's shadowing this week someone like Darnell Mooney, which could very well be a possibility, not that the Bears are going to pass a lot, but Justin Fields is giving people opportunities. I believe he's thrown a couple picks already this year. 3 pass breakups for Derek Stingley. Getting his hands on footballs. I think he gets his 2 hands on a football this week and secures it. Derek Stingley Jr. gets picked.
What if it's a one-handed pick?
Yeah, that'd be sick too, but I prefer 2.
Okay.
Do
you prefer
style points, leave it for the offense side of the ball. Get to your defender, get it with 2 hands, make sure you get it.
I would love any kind of interception for Derek Stingley Jr., my number 1 overall player in the class last year. So would love to see him get a turnover early on in this season. My bold prediction, I think Dameon Pierce, the running back in Texas, or the Houston Texans running back, he gets over 100 yards.
Oh, wow, we went heavy Texans. I didn't even realize.
I think, I didn't even realize that either.
Yeah, we're just shitting on the Bears. That's basically what we're saying.
I think Dameon Pierce gets over 100 yards rushing versus Chicago. When you look at the Bears' run defense, they have a grade of 38.9, which is 31st in the NFL. Houston Texans are actually the only team that are graded lower. But that doesn't matter for this debate. That's what we have there. The Bears are not good on run defense. 189.5 rushing yards per game allowed. That is the most in the NFL. Dameon Pierce had 15 carries last week for 69 yards. Okay, not the greatest, but he played 39 snaps, which is 62%. Rex Burkhead only played 23 snaps, which is 37%. The direction and usage that they are going with that is trending towards Dameon Pierce being the guy. I don't really trust Chicago's run defense right now. And if they're giving Pierce anywhere between 15 to 20 carries, which I think is going to be the case in this game, I think he's getting over 100. The rookie gets his first 100-yard game this week.
Can you name, here's a good.
No.
Can you name a starter on the Bears defensive line besides Robert Quinn?
Travis Gibson, does that count?
No, he's not technically a starter.
What?
He's not the starter.
Shoot. 91. Who is it? You highlighted him like 2 weeks ago. His name is on the tip of my tongue.
The rookie?
Yes.
Also not a starter. Dominic Robertson.
Okay, Robertson was who I was going for.
Not a starter. The starters on the Bears defensive line this year are Al-Quadin Muhammad, Angelo Blackson, and Justin Jones, alongside Robert Quinn.
Okay, so Dameon Pierce is rushing for over 100 yards because I couldn't name more than just Robert Quinn starting along the Bears defensive line outside of their flashy pass rushers that they have, which apparently are not starters. So there we go.
Yeah.
Dameon Pierce going over 100 yards.
I agree. This Bears defense line's bad.
Stinks. Yeah. Absolutely stinks. If you could name the Bears defensive line better than we could, good job, guys. You definitely won the show. Let's get you out of here with some extra money for the weekend. We call this $5 Friday. So essentially what we want you guys to do is take $5, put it on a 3 or more leg parlay, and see if we can get you rich. Get an extra free meal, maybe some free beer this weekend when it hits.
If ours hit, you're getting a free couple cases of beer.
You have 4 legs of the parlay, don't you?
No, I have 3 legs.
Oh, okay. What do you have?
But we got our dog parlays in honor of our new Dog of the Week segment. I got Dolphins outright money line.
Oh, we all did. We both did money line.
Broncos outright money line plus 100 against the 49ers. Texans outright money line against the Bears. $5 nets you nearly 60. 3 dog parlay.
I like one of those.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're dogs for a reason, but dogs are barking. Dogs are barking.
I mean, I guess, if you're going to bet for any team that's plus 188 in the money line, Dolphins have the offensive firepower to maybe make it happen. McDaniel's been coaching really well to start this season. He's been putting his guys in a really good position. Worried about that offensive line in Miami going up against the Bills' defensive line, and ultimately, of course, if I always say Dave Gavis. I don't know why I want to do that, but Gabe Davis. He plays, obviously, it's just even more weaponry that we have for
also
the
for
Miami
that graphic.
Dolphins.
Dolphins, Broncos are at home, not on the road. That's why I like them.
Oh, okay. So you went a little bit more. You're a little bit more homey there. That makes sense. Mine actually pays out more than yours.
Okay. Yeah.
I've got a 3-leg parlay here. Mine, I also have the Texans money line at Chicago. I think that's too easy. If you're getting plus money there, it's plus 125 on that one. Yeah. So I've got them in there. I've also got the Titans money line because they're plus money against the Las Vegas Raiders. I think these are both two teams that are reeling. You're basically flipping a coin of who's going to win this game. So if that's the case, I'm throwing them in there for plus 110. And then the Lions, baby. We talked about it at the beginning of the show.
Man, plus 200. Can you actually get that for plus 200?
6-point underdogs.
That one blows my mind.
I got him at plus 200 to win this game.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I'm opening up my betting app right now. I'm taking a look at that one.
You got to throw some money in there. If you bet $5, you win 70.
Yeah.
Take a chance with us, people. Take $5, throw it on one of these parlays, and be happy when they hit.
Yeah, going.
I was a little shaky with some of the $5 parlay, the $5 Fridays in the past. This one can hit. I got faith in the Texans. I got faith in the Titans. I got faith in the Lions. Famous last words for anybody
Lions
who's
outright.
betting. Guys, if you don't have the PFF app, you own an Apple device. Quite simply, what the hell are you doing? You can go to the App Store right now, type in PFF Pro Football Focus. You'll be able to find it. It'll give you everything you're looking for. You get the fantasy advice, a lot of the resources that Ian uses to answer a lot of your start-sit questions. You can see that there. You get the betting dashboard, be able to get your own $5 Friday parlays in there. Check to see if Mike and I are crazy. We're not. We're out here making you rich. You also, of course, get all the other analytical articles that are just breaking down the league as a whole. Go check it out if you got an Apple device. I know, Android people, y'all want it too. We're working on it. It's coming. But right now, if you have an Apple device, go to the Apple Store, type in PFF, get yourself the PFF app. Also, before we get out of here, if you don't have a PFF subscription, again, what are you doing? Now would be a great time to get it, though, because if you're listening to this show, you get to use the promo code FOOTBALL. Get yourself 25% off of a PFF Plus subscription. No more, what is this subscription? Elite, Edge, College, what are we doing? It's a one-stop shop, all-encompassing subscription at PFF, just called PFF Plus. Now you can get 25% off a yearly subscription when you use the promo code FOOTBALL. How you feeling?
Love football.
What are we doing on Saturday, Mike?
We are celebrating the life and times of Austin Gale and his career change. I know it sounded like a
Was he gonna
funeral.
die?
No.
What are we putting Austin
Austin Gale's away
birdcage?
party. It's an Austin Gale away party, and then we're watching football.
You guys did.
We have a keg order.
I am very sad. I will not be there. I will be at a wedding in Tampa, Florida. Big shout out to Anthony and Rebecca. Congratulations on you guys getting married. Love you guys so much. I'm going to be there to celebrate it. Sorry, I'm bummed that I'm not going to be there for Austin's going away party.
It's going to be a good time.
It's going to be an absolute movie. We'll see if Mike fires off any tweets about being in a Wendy's bathroom or just
be Sunday.
Being hungover on Sunday. And, of course, we will be back on Monday to recap all of the NFL action that you guys are going to see this weekend. For Trevor Sikkema, for Mike Renner, for everybody in the production suite, appreciate you guys watching. It's just football. We will see you guys right here at 11 a.m. on Monday. See you then.
It's not about politics, it's about football.
This is a simple game.
We're going to run the ball, and we're going to pass the ball. He's just going to play football, really.
How good of a football player are you?
Not just get in and try to spin it. That's all.
I just love the game. It really is the best time of the year.